Okay. And make sure if you're going to talk, make sure we raise our voice because Natalie just said, hey, we can't hear you. I can't hear you. Well, let's speak up.
No one has ever said that to me before.
Right? Well, we're telling you now. Bring it up. All right, let's go with our mission and our beliefs. To provide agents with a place where they will be empowered, trained, motivated to experience growth, wealth, and a legacy that allows them to live their best life possible. When the values of your company align with your own beliefs, you know you found your professional home. Our vision is to achieve amazing professionals and personal development so that KW South Bay remains the agency of choice. Okay, so let's put it on a applause. Another ELC. So our Agent Leadership Council last year put their heads together and created our mission and our beliefs here at the office. So awesome job. Next slide, please. All right, who wants to share and repeat the motivational minute? Anyone? Come on. All right. Heather. Stand up, Heather. You're going to have to raise your voice.
True humility is staying teachable regardless of how much you already know.
Awesome. What does that resonate to you? What does that mean? Anyone?
Well, the day I stopped learning, the day I died.
The day that I stop learning is the day that I die. Okay, cool. I love that. You know, we're always constantly learning, right? Each and every day. I know 25, going on 26 years now, I'm still learning. I still haven't learned everything, right? And that should be the same with you as well, is you do not stop learning. And, you know, technology revolves about so many different platforms, so many things. Just look at the California Association of Realtors on how they revamped a lot of the programs that we use nowadays. So in essence, you know, it seems like every 6 months something is going. I just found out that Boomtown just acquired Broker Mint, you know, so I was like totally shocked because I use Broker Mint and I did not know. And they said, well, we sent you the memo. I did not get that memo that you inquired, you know, the acquisition of Broker Mint. You know, and it's funny because we're going to be sharing a little bit of aha moments from Family Reunion and Gary Keller just saying all these different platforms that we're utilizing to make it more efficient. So this definitely resonates. One more person, what do you take away from this quote?
Don't let your ego get in your way. Sorry.
I love that. Don't let your ego get in the way, right? I always talk about humble yourself. You know, in this industry, you can definitely climb high, achieve success, but if you do not humble yourself, you're in for a rude awakening, in my opinion. So, and I've been knocked on my knees many, many, many times, and I've shared that story with you as well. So, who else had
Don't think you know it all.
Don't think you know it all. Yeah, right. Only if you're Chris Rivera, who knows it all. Yeah. Chris Rivera knows it all. So. He's razor sharp lender.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, so awesome. Okay, next slide, please. All right, our March babies. Happy birthday to our March birthdays. We have Richard, Cecilia, Shanika, Jasmine, Maggie, Carl, Blanca, Raji, Cheyenne, Thomas, Aline, Marcia, Joanne, Christopher, Eden, and Jacob, Rosalind, Kanisha, Stephen, Max, and then the following do not have photos, and that's Marcius, Lumita, Peter, Matthew, Stephen Aguilar, Brian, and Joseph. So happy birthday to our March baby. All right, so our March KW, that's Aaron right there. That's Aaron Alcidas. Showing his muscles. Pretty dope milestone, right? So congratulations to our anniversary agents. That's Maureen, Al, Dance, Kathy, Chris, Joe, Zenny, Mark, Leanne, Jeremy, Christy, Paul, Christy, Zen, Palia, Monica, Kevin, Crystal, Marcos, Robin, and how do you pronounce his name? Jai?
G, it's G.
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 Okay, G. So let's give them a round of applause. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so the newcomers and welcome to the family. On the spot, you want to say anything? Come on, Roman. Yeah, he's even standing up. Let's give him a round. Remember, when you go on a list appointment, you're going to be on the spot too. So consider this a practice. Yeah. So awesome. Well, welcome.
Yeah, it's my first day here. Nice to meet you guys. I'm just kind of new, so still getting started.
And he's on the Connor crew team.
Yeah. Welcome to the family.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes. All right, let's go ahead and continue. All right, so this Friday is our producer's mindset. I have the honor and the privilege of interviewing Mae Becker. Who knows Mae? She's a phenomenal agent. And she's where? Portugal. She's in Portugal. And I don't know how this lady does it, but she still does business here in California. She's semi-retired and she still does business here in California. And, you know, her ultimate goal is to open up a market center out there as well. So I know she's working heavily. Now, we have a little bit of a conflict of time. So when it's daytime here, it's evenings or late nights. So I'm crossing my fingers. I know it's probably going to be midnight on Friday, her time. We have this interview on Friday. So I texted her yesterday just to remind her. She hasn't responded back, so I'm a little nervous.
Wait, no, they're forward, not backwards.
Oh, they're forward?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's gonna be like 4 p.m. or
Oh,
something.
okay, even better. So I think we're good.
But she might be having a happy hour cocktail already.
She might, she might. So love to see you on the call. It's this Friday, March 4th. It's at 8 o'clock. It's on the calendar. Just jump on the link. And you'll see me and Mae in action, you know, talking about what works for her. So love to see the support of KW South Bay. All right, next slide, please. So we're having a live virtual course March 9th and 10th from 8 to 11 on the Builder Developer Realtor Education, BDRE. So if you are interested in this, I don't know much about this, but if you are interested in the builder development as a realtor, you know, please make sure you register. If you have any questions, either email Natalie, Holland, or myself, and you know, we'll send you the link to the 2-day course. Okay, it's from 8 to 11 o'clock, and then we have a fur baby as well. So let's give the fur baby a round of applause. So we just had surgery.
Man, and he laid down on the red carpet this morning. He said, "See, you're certified lucky."
Poor baby.
Hey, on this builder developer education,
It's kind of a big deal, right? Gary was wearing a shirt at family reunion that said "Buy Dirt," which Cheyenne educated me on. That is actually a country song that's very big right now. So that does not surprise me. But Buy Dirt was his whole thing of like, hey, we have no inventory. And I'm going to show you a slide in a minute about that. But he was encouraging agents to really start working with builders and developers and purchasing land and building up themselves to give us inventory out here, right? So this is a good thing. And they give you a toolbox full of like documents and how to like training on how to approach builders and developers. So
it's a great niche if you want to go, especially if you're geared into commercial. it's a great platform to get connected. I'm a true believer, if you can connect with developer, you're gonna succeed at a high level, and there's tons of money involved. Because it's not small change, right? It's a big, big project. So again, if you're interested, please make sure to register for
Now,
this.
it's March 9 and 10 from 8 to 11, 2 days.
Yes, so it's gonna be a 2-day event from 8 to 11. Yeah. Any questions? Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and continue. We have another fur baby.
Sorry, I was negotiating.
So
on
2
this
for
there
2.
today. It's crazy.
All right, so James Shaw will be hosting a shift workshop March 9th and 10th from 10 to 2 p.m. If you know Sean, James, he's a phenomenal instructor. And I remember back in 2020 when we ended up shifting in March when pandemic hit, he was one of the first one that just resonated with me. Oh my gosh, how are you? That ultimately shifted into how agents should shift and also the market center. So yeah, James Shaw is a phenomenal instructor. He's rubs elbows with Gary Keller and the leadership as well. So if you're interested in hearing him, March 9th and the 10th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right. Next slide. All right. The color of real estate. Everything seems to be on March or on the 10th. So you got a lot of different classes. The diversity, equity, and inclusion that register. If you're interested, then please register on the site there. And it's what is it? Unconscious bias and real estate. Maybe I should put my glasses on. And that's March 23rd, 12 p.m. Hosted by the head of inclusions and the belonging of Julia Israel. So if you're interested in the real estate of the color of real estate, that's March 9th and March 23rd as well. So you want to join, please make sure to register for that. Anything you'd like to add to that, Sylvia?
I was just gonna say, has anyone taken any of these yet?
All right.
It's really interesting because it has a lot to do with markets today and issues that what we learn in real estate school of steering and all kinds of other things, but then also just unconscious bias is a whole other conversation. But I think most people don't know because it's unconscious. You don't know if you have a bias. And so I would just say, that's one of the new committees that we have this year for ALC is the equity committee. And we want to make sure that this is a place for everyone to feel welcome and what we can do together to work towards having the best possible culture and environment and no bias. So, yeah.
100%.
The South Bay, Realtor, they have also, they're amazing. They bring speakers to talk about things. Sometimes that we say something to somebody and we really think that it's that could be construed like it's bad, somebody don't know.
And it's more so this office, just Katrina.
I posted 2 of these. So one for the South Bay, housing thing in Manhattan Beach, and then one for the South Bay board. So I do these talks all the time. I think the last one I did is still on YouTube. So I know a lot about the subject and I can explain to you why the 110 freeway is the way it is, why the 105 freeway is the way it is. So if you have any questions for that, it's actually kind of interesting because when you are at open house and you're able to talk with the education of the area to clients, you don't have to chase clients. They're going to ask your business. Especially people who are not from Southern California, which we have a lot of transplants here. They don't know this information, they're quite interested in it, and it helps you look like the area specialist without having to advertise it everywhere.
Love that. Yeah, it's so true. There you go. We have someone here that can educate us as well. So thank you for stepping up, Katrina, and providing that value because it's very, very, very important. And what we saw in the last 2 years, right, has really resonated for a lot of us. The emotion, the roller coaster effect, the ups and downs, the depressions too that we dealt with with the coronavirus as well. So it's very, very important to get plugged into stuff like this. So thank you. All right, well, let's go ahead and continue. All right, next slide, please. Or St. Patrick's. Someone already is wearing green. Oh, there's two people. Oh, you got the memo already. That's awesome. So our happy hour, Thursday, March 17th from 4:30 to 6:30, please. You know how the South Bay is. We're all about enjoyment. So please participate. We'll have some wine, we'll have some beverages, we'll probably have food as well, right?
Irish whiskey.
Irish whiskey?
Irish beer too. I think there's even a green beer too out there. So it'll be Thursday, March 17th from 4:30 to 6:30. All of you, including Nina, is invited to it. So please be there for that event.
Holland and Natalie usually have that bar card that they push.
Oh, that's
around
right. With the shots,
You remember the shots?
I do remember the shots. Yeah. So just don't get too crazy, guys, okay? Otherwise, I'm gonna be having Uber out there waiting. So awesome. It's a great event, by the way. So, and more so, it's just there we go. All right, let's go ahead and continue with the next slide, please. All right, our team building workout challenge. Who's in? Yeah! Wait a minute, there's only a handful of you. All of you should be raising your hands.
A lot of girls.
This is gonna be a great time. It'll be Friday, March 18 at 11:30. We have teams already in place. We just gotta get the team members to be part of it. But it's a 1 hour. We don't know what the curriculum is going to be, what it involves. So you got to be there to know, and then we'll do the activities. But right after, that's where the fun part begins. Is Homebridge will host some drinks and some food as well. And make sure you bring some Advil if you're going to participate. Because you're going to be hurting the following day. Day before. Well, you better start stretching now because the aging is just around the corner.
I'm so hurting, I'm so fine.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's funny you say that, Lauren, because my wrist to this day is still hurting. And I feel like a kid on the football field thinking that I was a teenager, playing sports.
Yeah, the lights, it was the lights, and they just.
Yeah, it was the lights. So if you're interested, please make sure to register with us so that way we have a head count. Because I know Fernando is going to need that once we transition from the workout session to the restaurant.
And
So,
there's teams that you create too. And
yeah,
so-
and Aaron, you can't create your team.
I already did.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, but this is a real photo. Look, we're all so smiling after the workout. We didn't die. It was hard, but it was really fun. So I super recommend it. It was cool.
No, it's good for the heart, right? Cardio. But it's really just the morale of being together, and doing some type of activity. South Bay office is known to, work in unity, and these are great events to be a part of as well. So, all right, let's go ahead and continue. Next slide. All right, bold is upon us. All right, who's taking bold? I know Nina is. Fantastic. All of us should be raising our hand. Bold definitely is something that helps you with accountability, some type of structure. So it'll be first step will be Thursday, March 31st, and it's from 9 o'clock to 10:30. Step 2 to step 7 from 9 to 12 o'clock. And that will be Thursday, April 14, April 21st, and April 28th, and May 5th will also be on a Thursday. And Friday is the only one that's going to be on May 13th. And then the last step 7 will be Thursday. All right, so please make sure if you are going to participate. I know Gary is going to participate for the 20th time, right, Gary?
I'm done, but listen, I took 18 of them, okay?
He did take 18.
You should be a instructor now. Right?
You should.
I was looking at that, it's, you know,
After all this time, right?
when they get back to live stuff, I'll.
Yeah, all right.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, after 18 times, I think you probably already know how to present, Gary. So I vote for Gary.
Yes.
Awesome. So
But you know, you also get the other camaraderie from, because it's not just our office, so like yesterday, I got a call from a gal who was down in a totally different office who said, hey, I met you in Bold like 3 years ago when we first went into this lockdown, you know, and you get that cool networking from it too, right?
Yeah, no, she's right. There shouldn't be a limit on how many roles you take. This would be my 7th role. There's always something you can learn. Going back to what Sonia said, it's the camaraderie between the other agents, it's the brainstorming. You'll take it and then there'll always be something new that you'll pick up from each role.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Awesome. Oh, all right. So we continue. What's with the sad faces, guys? Get that smile going. It's Wednesday, baby. All right. So I wanted to report on our family reunion this year. It felt so good. There was in-person attendees, 11,855 attendees that were in Orlando, Florida. That's a lot of people, you know? Yeah, and I was one of them. Sonia was another one. I was gonna say Ed, but Ed, next year, they're gonna have it here in California. Many,
You know, it didn't feel like 12,000 people.
It did not.
It felt like 5,000 people.
it did.
So if you went to those events, you know, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, that's how it felt. You know, more intimate.
We had 7,500 virtual attendees. Keller Classic participation, there was 100 plus, and in charitable donations was over $50,000. You know, that's pretty amazing. You know, we were just talking about it earlier about the vision statement. You know, we're probably going to have it maybe next week. We're just trying to find a time and day that works where we can actually hear Gary Keller speak on that. So, you know, these are phenomenal numbers. 11,000, almost 12,000 people there. You know, like Minnie was saying, it didn't feel that there was that many people. But then again, if you ever been to Orlando and that convention center, it's huge, and you can definitely get lost there. So,
I have a question about that. Did they come up with a decision about the former Keller Williams people that are still collecting profit sharing?
No.
not yet.
And we do have one of our agents here on the LC, Amy. She's on the IALC. Are you on the IALC currently? She's
Oh, and they.
the IALC, so that's one of the hot topics. But nobody knows really what.
They still can't agree, they can't agree to it.
Yeah.
Well, it's
It
weird
depends
because
on it, they can-
help our profit. I mean, what's not even doing anything for our
If-
building?
Just to share for a second, the thing is, you know, when you join KW, then you pick a sponsor.
Right.
A sponsor person who introduces you to join the company, and then they get a piece from the ownership side as a profit share, right? And I think 7 years now, if you've been with the company or what have you,
Yeah.
then you invested for life, right?
Before it used to be 3 years, they moved it to for 7 years.
Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Today is 7 years, right? If you're, yeah, now, if you
When I was
vested.
there, it was 7 or 3.
Yeah, if you vested. Now, the thing is that a lot of those agents that, you know, are vested, getting still passive income, they're not with KW anymore. Now, if they're retired or whatever, that's all different story, but they're with competitor, you know, like a different brokerage or what have you, so there's some conflict of interest. And that's what everything came about. Should we keep it or should we change it? And that's, I guess, that's all.
Well, you can change it if
Plus.
they're really retired, but if they don't go to another company, then.
Yeah.
Some of these people, just to give you guys clarity, make hundred of thousands a year.
Right, on profit share,
On profit share.
which is coming out of our profits.
Well, that's a different topic. That's a different section, that's a different class. Let's get back on track with our team meeting, because
Sorry.
we're gonna be following up with the guest speaker that's gonna be coming in at 1 o'clock. So again, these are phenomenal numbers for family reunion. And the good thing is next year, family reunion will be in Anaheim, so there's no reason and no excuses why all of us should not be supporting that. And it's a great event. You get to see Gary Keller as well. And network, that was the best for me, is networking with people around the world. You know, Manny was networking and rubbing elbows with a lot of people out of state as well. You know, so it's a fun time, but the opportunities are there as well. All right, let's go ahead and continue. All right, we got Chris Ribeiro with Len US giving us some updates. He says, I got some important stuff I need to talk to you about.
Thanks, guys. First, I wanted to thank all of you guys for coming last Friday to my FHA VA training. That was amazing. I did not expect that many people in person. Final count was over 45 people. That was insane. And I didn't do a Zoom class. I did it strictly in person, wanting to bring people back in the office, letting them know we're here and we're functioning, get back in here so we can all kind of collaborate together, and it worked. So anyway, more to come. And last week, I told you last Wednesday that I thought the conflict, if it happened, would bode well for interest rates. It did happen. We saw a slide for the last 4 or 5 days where they started to come down, all until today. You know, there's always going to be hiccups along the way. It has more to do with the oil and gas pressures that we're seeing in the economy and inflation. So we did see a little spike up today. We don't know what's going to happen on the go forward. In terms of that oil and gas, that's putting pressure on rates to kind of go up a little bit because of the inflation. But we do see the overall flavor with this invasion. If it keeps on going this way, we're probably going to see a little slide back with rates going down a little bit more. And they're great territories. I mean, they were great territories prior to this anyway. But right now, I just priced out a few loans before I came up here. I can get jumbo financing right now. Someone who's buying a $1.5 million home with 20% down, I can get them at 3.5% 30-year fixed at 0 points. I can do the same for someone who's getting a high balance conforming as well. And that would put someone, let's say, $1 million property with 20% down. I can still get them a 3.5% 30-year fixed. So rates are in great territory. Now, conforming is a little bit higher. We are seeing separation between the jumbo and high balance sector and the conforming. Most big banks want those jumbo loans, so they're priced better. The conforming right now is about 3 7/8, but still in great territories. Historically, you're sub 4. These are great rates. Get that information out to your clients that in the short term, if you can ink a deal, you're going to get a really good interest rate. But now if we talk months out, we're probably going to see the continuing trend of rates increasing. We saw that at the beginning of the year. They started to climb. They were in the low 3s, made it up into the mid-high 3s, right? So we're going to see that go on as we just kind of go forward into the year. Just the inflationary pressures will take over, especially once this conflict gets resolved. We're going to see those rates start to increase and get probably into the mid-4s, maybe even the high 4s. We'll hear later this month, the Fed will be increasing short-term rates, but the market's already played that into it. So that's why it's not really going to affect us, but will affect people who are looking to buy a car or short-term financing like a HELOC or credit cards, stuff like that. That's tied to more of the treasury bills. They'll see an increase in their rates. But people will call you because they think they're tied. They're not. They're not tied together. There's no correlation really between short-term rates and long-term rates. So they'll call you, but that's good. That's just one more touch that you can talk to your client and let them know the direction of rates and the power of interest rates. When they move, the buying power in which they lose, which is 11% for a 1% increase in rate. So it's information you want to get out to your clients. Lastly, I've got a couple of announcements. I am going to do another training class later this month. It'll be on the 25th of March. I'm going to do jumbo financing this time and kind of how to make your borrower a cash buyer, an all cash buyer that you can compete with. And the way to do it is to get them underwritten up front. Our company has allowed us to do this so we can get our file in front of an underwriter and get it completely signed off. The only thing we won't have is the escrow instructions and the prelim, but now you can really tighten up your contingency periods, waive contingency if you need to, so that you can't compete with those all cash buyers. So it's really important that you guys come and find out how to do that. Just navigate around the pitfalls, what to expect, and that you can educate your clients. But this is really going to be something in this market that we need, is to be able to go to that listing agent and say, hey, look, it's already been underwritten. All you got to do is take my offer and we can close within 2 weeks. So it's just putting your offer in just a better light. And then lastly, this will be coming out, but I want to put it on the calendar now. I'm going to do it on April 30th. We're going to do an an all office first time home buyer seminar. It's open to all of you guys. I'm going to go in and talk on a Saturday to educate your buyers, but I really want to see everyone just bring as many people as you can, because the more people that are in attendance, it just makes it look really strong. Like you guys put together a great seminar to educate your potential buyers. Now, it's going to come on April 30th. There's more to come, but I just wanted you guys to be able to eat the date now so that you guys know what's on the calendar. So other than that,
What time will that be?
we're going to do it at 10:30 in the morning. It'll be more like a continental breakfast for the buyers when they come in, more like juices and bagels and fruits and stuff like that. Just something so it looks good for them. What did you want?
Mimosas.
That's what I thought he said. That's what I thought. He said.
I'm gonna be here flipping pancakes for you guys. How about that?
Hey, I heard him say it, so we're gonna have pancakes on that stage.
Yeah, witness.
All right, guys. Anyway, just appreciate you guys all. If you guys have any questions, reach out to me.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Good information, right? I was just kidding about pancakes, guys. I'm not doing that. But I will do it second quarter. Well, that's why I'm putting that disclaimer in place. And second quarter, I'll do the next pancake event. Oh, gosh. Sometimes I put my foot in my own mouth. Gosh. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Next slide, please. All right, we're gonna bypass this. Natalie, let's talk about this a little after. I want to get to a little bit of family reunion, because I have Gary here that I want, and Sonia that want to touch a little bit on the ahas that they got from family reunion. So Gary, if you don't mind, come up here. Let's give them a round of applause.
I just start.
So, for a lot of us that ended up going, well, let me take that back. For the few that went to a family reunion, it's tough when it's back east, right? Especially because the time difference. I know I was hurting, 3 hours difference trying to get up and go to the events. When you have it here locally, it's a different animal. So, I'm looking forward to seeing it here next year. So, Gary, let's just share some some nuggets that you picked up, because I know that this really, really resonates with you when you get to see Gary Keller, the entire leadership. So what moments that you got that you could share with the group?
Oh, that one's tough. First of all, this family reunion was a little bit different, right? The classes, you have single agent classes breakout, you have single agent with assistant classes, you have team classes, you have expansion classes. So everybody kind of fit into some area. So that was cool. To me, family reunion is it's like plugging into the energy that we have as Keller Williams, right? So if you guys just stay here, one of the reasons why agents leave and go somewhere else is because you haven't experienced family reunion. When you go there, you just kind of feel different. The energy of first of all, a lot of people doing great business, right? I mean, you're on the bus. It's funny, this time around, I give 3 referrals out. Normally, I mean, people get referrals. I get 3 referrals out, and most of those people are people I just connected with. I had a lady on the bus, we were just talking. She was in Maryland, and her niece literally called me up, like, uncle, I want to buy land and build out. I give her the referral, and she had a thing in her that says land. You have different kind of baggage for where you are. So that was really great. My thing is plugging into the energy that's Callaway. That's really my thing. When I go there, because again, you just meet different great people, and you see Joe, what do you call it? Everyday Joe that's doing 100 transactions, 120 transactions. I mean, you just go hang out in a bar and you're talking to these people, and it's like, really, you do that? Really, you do that? And like, how you do it? So it's just plugging into that. When you plug into that, and it just takes you in a different place. It sets you apart. And yes, the session was fantastic. I always love Gary Keller's input. Mine is full of wisdom. I was really blessed to be in a mastermind with him almost like a day before the end of the day, the end of the family. That was really great. Again, it's just that's my really takeaway. That's why I never, before I started going to family reunion, I was coaching with Mike Ferry, and anything I'm the kind of person that wherever I'm at is the best thing that can happen. I'm not someone that's looking at this and looking at that, whatever. So Mike Ferry was a great coaching. I enjoyed it. And then family reunion was at Anaheim. And I went there, I'm like, holy moly, it's different kind of people. And if you plug into the joy of people, it will rub off on you a little bit, and you'll bring that home with you, and it just make your everyday job much more joyful.
Beautiful. Yeah, everyone gets their own feel for it. I know when Gary Keller brought in Levy, remember Levy, the military guy, was it Levy?
Yeah.
It just resonated with me because of the background and the tragic accident that happened for him. And you could see around the convention center, people teary-eyed, because of what transpired with it. So that was one of the things that I picked up, from family reunion, is the people that they bring, the success, that helps all of us. So that was one of my aha moments. Sonia, did you have anything that you'd like to share as well?
There was definitely so much heart this time. So you walk in and the first thing you see is welcome home, like
That's
a
true.
huge sign that just felt so amazing after the school separation. And then, the culture was everywhere, KWH is helping each other throughout the whole thing. I have 2 specific things that I'm super great. I'm always grateful for the huge vision, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we want to make sure that everybody sees that vision speech. If you didn't see it yet, we'll be playing it here next week, but the slides are out. I posted them for you guys on our private Facebook page. I'll show you a slide that Gary Keller said, do not miss putting this in your bio presentation. I'll pull it up right now. But aside from that, I want to tell you that the reason I'm still at KW is because I've been to family reunions. Because if I had just been at the first office I joined, and things change and people change and all this stuff happens, if you don't plug into the bigger vision, it's very difficult to stay on board sometimes, right? And so I'm just always so grateful when I'm like, hey, I wish we would do this. And then Gary's like, so we've been working on this for you for 2 years. And I'm like, oh my God, like just they're on top of it. So one of the things that I'm super excited about is this idea of mobile first, That's what they're really bringing on from the tech side. So you know you have your apps and everything, but it's still completely impossible to fill up a purchase agreement on your phone, right? Like, I mean, it's just, what are you doing, pinching and zooming and trying to do it like that. So they are integrating so much really cool tech into our KW apps, so that you can do this, because you're doing everything on the go, right? You're gonna be able to do the whole transaction completely on the go. And in addition to that, over the last couple of years, a lot of Keller Williams agents have started some sort of side companies on their own that plug into this, just like we have concierge or anything else. There's a lot of really cool apps and things like that that they're looking at integrating to Command. In addition to everything else that's being integrated, but really it's really gonna be very mobile focused, so that you guys can run around writing offers on the go from the thing, from your device, right? So real quick, I just want to share one screenshot here.
Maybe.
There we go. All right, so Gary Keller was talking about, this is all the vision speech slides. This is a really fantastic resource for you to see why, for instance, we don't have any inventory, because look how little homes were built in the past. But what I want to show you is this really great conversation around affordability. Okay, so how is it possible that everything, all the prices are going up, but yet people can still purchase homes? I'm gonna pause this slide. Right, it can be difficult. It can be a difficult thing to explain to your client when you're in that buyer situation, like why should you buy? So it's this slide right here, inflation. So what they did is they took the value, for instance, for a car in 1989, right here, right? Oops, sorry, I swapped it over here, but it's not. Yep. So if a car cost in 1989 $15,000, this is based on regular inflation rates is what it should cost today, which is 35,000, right? And so, but in reality, it's costing 46. So what they did here is they're trying to explain to you how, yes, everything is, the inflation is happening and we're paying way more for all kinds of things. Same thing with gas, right? It should be costing you $225, instead it was $351. This is 2021, okay? So 56% inflation here. Same thing with home prices. If you bought the same home in 1989, it would have cost you $94,000 on average in the United States. If it was the regular 4.4 inflation rate or year over year, today it should cost us $218,000, but it's costing $346 instead, right? Again, huge increases on inflation, but take a look at, because of mortgages, what happens here is your mortgage would have been $825. It should be around almost $2,000, and instead, for a higher priced home, it's less than here, right? So you can print this slide, put this in your buyer presentations. It's a great way to explain to buyers why it's a good time to buy, right? Because right now, and you can talk to our all and ever knowing Chris more about this, but if you're gonna look at this, right? Basically, less house for more money, right? More house for less money, and you're locking in this payment for 30 years.
Is it because of the interest rate that was different?
Yep.
Yeah, interest rate and prices. But what you're saying, so one important thing, and this was, we had this conversation the other day in my coaching group, but you might be looking at these, like comparing like, oh, well, that doesn't cancel that out. Like, how does that, that's not what we're doing here. What you're actually doing here is you're saying that you're buying this mortgage rate, right, for the next 30 years. So you're in reality, you're getting this plus this sort of like, it's a really great way to talk about this. And there's a wages example here as well. One of the cool things that they said is we should have put the price of computers on there, because in 1989, it cost like 20 grand to make a computer, right? And then, so if you took it today, it should be costing you like 35,000. However, your little cell phones changed all of it. So $1,000 for that is a totally different game. It's like the anomaly of the whole thing, right? But take this, make sure you understand this. The other slides I would recommend is the home building scale, where it dipped. We had that decade of the lost decade of new homes being built. And that should explain to your clients also why you're not gonna have that crazy, inventory, or the price drop, right? So even if the prices fell, your interest rate is still, you're still winning. The prices are not gonna fall as fast as the interest rates are gonna go up, right? So lock in the rate. It is a great time to buy. Okay, yeah.
Questions?
Just one important thing during the buyer's presentation, people nowadays are paying $3,000-$4,000 for rent. So have the conversation around that and convert that into what the value of the home should be, or whatever their mortgage is going to be. And they're already doing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. That's a great slide to be able to show people, because you're right, rates are lower, so the affordability is there for clients. But what's missing from that is if you don't buy, then you have to rent. And rents have appreciated by 16% year over year.
Yeah.
So home values have gone up 18% year over year, but rent's gone up 16% year over year. And that's going to continue to go up because, well, that's not fixed. And as she said, fixing and locking to a monthly payment, that's solidified for 30 years, right? So it's a great slide, but I'd say what Erin said, just also
Add the
throw in
rent piece.
rent.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Comparison, right? Because you need to find those people who are going to be the first time home buyers in the next coming couple of years. Yeah.
I was just gonna add to that, I actually used this somewhat, and then what Chris, you shared last week, and the reverse calculation by dividing it by 0.00635 or something. So I was talking to somebody and they said, this is how much I'm paying in rent. And then I just talked to them and I said, hey, is this it, or do you have some more room? Because then I can give you a range of where, because they were asking me, where do you think I should buy? Well, tell me what can you afford? And so to get to that point, we just came up with what they're comfortable paying monthly, which is what they're currently paying anyway. And given that they have a down payment, and if not, then we went the whole FHA route. But yeah, it definitely helps because
Yeah.
it's the sticker shock, right?
It's a good one. So that slide,
Right.
I would definitely grab that and then add your own input. You're gonna sound really smart, just like having us on the SR on the side, right?
Smart.